This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Incase A.R.C travel pack, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. So starting with the materials here, we have a mixture of 90D and 1200D recycled polyester. I assume that this is the 1200D up here because it is a little bit, a thicker material and looks a little bit more woven. But I'm not exactly sure. There isn't a ton of detail on the Incase site as to which is which and what is what for some of the materials. But both, I'm pretty happy with both. You can maybe get a better look at the difference between the two. But I've been cycling with this because that's how I get to work. And both the top and the bottom material, you have the same material here on the bottom as you do up there on the top. And I've gotten this thing pretty dirty, and as you can see right now, it's pretty clean. I just cleaned it with a rag and it cleaned off very well. This bottom part here, which is more kind of clothy, was a little bit harder to clean, but wasn't terrible. A little bit of salt got on there as well, and that scrubbed out too. It took a little bit more time. But overall, I mean, it's a pretty nice looking materials, and it's a little kind of boxy and rounded, almost looks kind of like a pill, like a Pez that comes out of one of those Pez dispensers. It's that kind of shape. Depending whether you're into that or not, we'll decide whether you like it. But overall, I think it looks pretty nice, rounded. There's some areas where like the materials kind of bunched together a little bit, which isn't the end of the world to me. And it just depends how it's packed too. If you have a bunch of stuff in here, that's going to pack out differently. And right now I actually have nothing in here because I think it's one of those packs that if there's a bunch of stuff in there, I might miss little features because there are a lot of things going on in this bag. So we'll dive into this bag. We have the Incase logo right there, which is what you'll see on pretty much any of their laptop sleeves, cases, slings, anything like that. It's metal, and it's raised up, and I first got it, I kind of almost felt like it was one of those ones that might start to come off, but I've put this bag through the ringer and it's still on there pretty nicely, and it's pretty minimalistic too. You can see I'm kind of like moving it right now, so the light's hitting it different. So depending on how the light's hitting it, you'll be able to see it more or less, but from afar, you can almost not really tell it's there. You can tell there's a logo, but you can't exactly tell what it is. But moving on to the zippers, we're all YKK here. Every single zipper on this thing that I found is a YKK zipper. We've got mostly YKK number 5 zippers, which are ample for your little smaller gear pockets and your interior stuff. And then we have a YKK number 8 that goes around the main compartment. Something I did know is that sometimes for a bag that is this size, the YKK number 5 felt a little small for some of the pockets. It felt like I needed something maybe a little bit beefier, and that could have been maybe the zipper pull as well, but sometimes it just felt like I needed something a little bit bigger. I know a YKK number 8 especially is a pretty big zipper, and we'll get onto the compartment in a bit, but sometimes when you have a lot of stuff in here, opening and closing can just, I don't know, it felt a little bit more strenuous than it should. That's a very nitpicky thing and something I don't normally feel, though. That's why I thought that I should say something about it. But we do have YKK AquaGuard zippers on anything that they think is like a tech pocket. So right here, this pocket here is supposed to be for tech. So it has a AquaGuard zipper. And then we have the laptop sleeve zipper on the back here, and this is also an AquaGuard zipper. And I think that is a nice inclusion to ensure that your tech stays dry. But something I wanted to mention about that is the fact that only those ones are AquaGuard is a little bit odd to me, because obviously, maybe your phone will go in here and some small headphones or other small tech will go in this pocket. And obviously you want your laptop, tablet, whatever to be safe in that pocket. But if you're traveling with this bag, there's odds are you're gonna have some tech in the main compartment too. And if you don't have an AquaGuard zipper there, I just don't really get that. Like if I was traveling with a small camera even, it's probably not gonna fit in here and it's not gonna fit in the laptop compartment. And if I put it in the main compartment and that doesn't get the AquaGuard zipper, I guess it just worries me a little bit because they felt it was necessary here and here. So that was just something that I noticed I thought was worth talking about. But we're gonna move on to the back of the pack here. And we've got a very, very padded back panel and some very padded shoulder straps as well. They both have mesh, which I thought worked pretty well too. As I said, I cycle to and from work. This bag did not get very hot. It's pretty cold out in Michigan right now, but a lot of the times my back is sweating no matter what time of year it is because I pack a lot in my bag. But this mesh did a good job at keeping me cool on my back especially. It has, let me make sure I get this right, Ortholite Impressions foam on the back panel and these shoulder straps. So they actually normally make like inserts for shoes and stuff like that. But Incase has used them here, and it's very foamy. Like, it's got a ton, I don't know if you can really see how much give it's got, but it really does have a lot to give, and it is very comfortable. Especially you can fit a ton of gear in this bag. It's 25 liters when it's not expanded, and it goes up to 33 liters when it is expanded. So you can fit a ton of gear in here. And I'm riding to and from work. I'm obviously wasn't using really the whole 33 liters, but a heavy backpack with this foam is nice, and the aeration is nice too. We've got a luggage pass-through here that works really well, I found. It's not super loose, which sometimes you see them and like they're a little bit loose, which is nice because they're easier to get on. But this one's pretty tight, and so it stays close to the luggage handle, which is nice. And it does have a little bit of pretty width or like height, whichever you want to call it, which makes it just stays on nicely and securely. And just under that, we have a little hidden pocket here. And it's a nice inclusion, but it's kind of odd. Like it's tall enough for a passport, but that's really about it. Like it doesn't go very far down. So you're really only gonna get like a passport, or if you have pieces of paper, you're gonna have to fold it a few times to get it in there. But it is a nice inclusion for if you are traveling and you want to put your passport or other travel documents in there, you can do that. Moving on to the shoulder strap here, or not the shoulder strap, the sternum strap. We have one of those ones that's on a rail, so you can adjust it pretty easily. Something I will say is that I like rails because you can get super fine adjustments. So if it's just off, you can move it just a tiny bit. But with the rail that they decided to use here, it kind of gets stuck in its track, like it leaves an imprint. So this has been pretty much in the same spot the entire time I've been using it. And I'm not sure if you can really tell, but if you slide it up, and when you can see kind of the lines there. And if you slide it back down, it snaps right back where it was. So like, because of the imprints, like the little plastic hardware here, it like recognizes it when it comes back and it snaps right back in. And I'm sure after a while that would go away if you were to move it. And it is kind of a negative and a plus, because if you're just moving it because you're doing something different or someone's wearing your backpack for a little bit, they can adjust it how they want it. And then when you go to put it back on, you can put it back to where it was. So that is a positive in that sense, but if you're just trying to move it and you're moving it and it keeps going back to where it was, not a huge positive. But if you get it where you want it and you can stay there, then I think it is a good thing. But something I forgot to mention, we do have Duraflex hardware here. All the hardware on this thing work just as you'd expect hardware to. You don't even realize, you know it's there, but like you don't have to worry about it, which is probably the best thing I can say about hardware, is when you don't have to worry about it is a good thing, because if you have to worry about it, it normally means something's going wrong. But we got buckle here, buckles on this side, all work really, really well. And then we've got adjusters all over as well. We got these adjusters here going up and down the rail, and the adjusters on this side. But all the Duraflex hardware works as you would expect Duraflex hardware to. No complaints at all on that end. Something I will note about the placement of these and these is it makes the side zippers kind of hard to use, because obviously there's zippers running under every single one, no matter where it is. A lot of times there'll be like two, sometimes there'll be like these two here will go over zippers, and then you'll have these ones that don't on packs like this. But on this one, no matter where you are looking, it's going over a zipper. These ones here to get into the main compartment, they go over the main compartment zipper, and they also go over, this is the to extend the pack. It goes over that zipper, which isn't the end of the world, because obviously you're going to be getting into the main compartment a lot and you want it to be secure while it's closed. But on this side, these adjusters go over, they don't really go over this side pocket, but you kind of have to fiddle with them to get to this side pocket. And we'll talk about the side pocket later, but they're kind of in the way for that. And then the end of the main compartment, it doesn't exactly go under it, but the zipper pulls are often under it. And if you have it tightened up, you got to like go underneath it to grab onto the zipper pull to open it, and then the extender, again, to extend this pack up to its 33 liters. You have to get underneath these or just loosen them to get to that. So that's a good time to talk about that, actually, is the extension that this pack offers. So I believe it's on the other side right now. Nope, this is something I did struggle with while I was here. It's actually right here. So to find that, I always was looking on the wrong side, like you literally just saw me do it, like getting to the right side of the pack to find where the zipper for that is can be troublesome. You obviously aren't going to be doing that a ton either. Like you're not going to extend it and then 5 minutes later going to put it back. So, but figuring out which side it's on can be a little cumbersome. But you unzip this here. It comes all the way around. Got to undo that. Undo that. And then it comes back and it goes underneath itself. So you can see we started right here. And it actually the underneath zipper goes all the way to here. That's so it can open all the way. If it didn't, you'd be stuck like right there and it wouldn't open. But because it goes all the way, you can really get that full extension. So that really adds a ton of width to this pack. That's, that's how it is when it's not extended. And then it goes and extends like that. You go from 25 liters all the way up to 33 liters, which is a pretty big gain for a bag of this size. Percentage-wise, that's a pretty big gain. You really do, you could fit a ton more gear. And I know we're not moving into the main compartment yet, but I will show you. Again, there's a million zippers. It's like here it is. So you can kind of see how much you're getting here. When you're not extended, you're like that. And when you are, you're like that. So you really do gain quite a bit of storage space when you extend it. I mean, that's probably 5 inches or so. But we'll move on to the main compartment in just a little bit. Just wanted to show you that real quick. If you don't like zippers, this is not the pack for you, because there's always zippers to be zipped and unzipped for the functionality of this pack. Okay, so now we'll talk more about the different smaller pockets and stuff like that. So as I mentioned earlier, this is supposed to be a tech like a tech quick use pocket. If you open it up here, it'll be kind of hard to see, but this is a pretty small pocket as well, as we talked about with the hidden pocket. But you do have a nice zip here, again, YKK, with a little bit of room. I mean, it's not, you can see my hand, it's not a terribly deep pocket. My phone does fit in there, and it's nice to be able to zip something away, so it does have a fair amount of depth to it for a small quick use pocket. But you can put a phone or your keys or whatever in there. You've got this little mesh pocket here, which is nice. I actually put my Bluetooth mouse in there a ton. Then you've got this little elastic webbing, which I think you're supposed to put cords and stuff in, but it was a little just awkward to use for me. It wasn't my favorite thing to use. And you couldn't put a pen in there because it stops right there. So they're a little bit awkward. You could hook things on there if you wanted to. And then just another liner pocket here. And you do have that YKK zipper, as we talked about, to keep any water out. And this is also an RFID blocking pocket. Didn't test that, not exactly sure how to test that, but if that's something you need, it does advertise that it has it. So we'll move just below this pocket into, so this was, as you can see, a lot of times packs, it bothers me when there's wasted space on the front. And there's nothing on the front of this pack. It would be nice if there was, loops or something like that. But all of this space is used. There's a pocket up here, and then this whole space is a pocket as well. I can't really show you the inside of this pocket. I just noticed this loose thread here. It's the first loose thread I've actually seen. Give you a closer look at that. Yeah, first loose thread I've seen. Not the biggest deal, but that is noticeable. But this pocket here is, see, it goes all the way down. And it has a fair amount of, not give, but it has a fair amount of height, if you want to call that height here. And there are 2 pockets in here that I really can't show you very well. But there are 2 pockets here, one on each side. And they don't have any fasteners or anything like that. This pocket on this side's a bit bigger. I can almost extend my hand all the way that way. And then a smaller pocket here, which barely fits my hand in it. And we have a key clip as well. So if you want to attach your keys in here, or even if you have a pouch you wanted to put in here, that's kind of like a quick access pouch, you could put the pouch in there, and if it has a D-ring or something, You just clip it on there, and then it's elevated off the bottom of the pack. But this pocket's nice. I threw a keyboard in here a few times, just my Magic keyboard, and just anything else that's like that won't fit in here. Like this is nice because it has the waterproofing, water resistance protection, but this fits a ton more stuff. So if you're not worried, like it's not raining or anything like that, throw it in here and you can take it with you. Another pocket we have here is this side pocket. And I've seen a few bags with these side pockets in the past, and I really never know what I'm supposed to put in here. I mean, like it's just like they wanted a pocket, so they put it there, and I almost always, like the thing I put in there is a Bluetooth speaker. I don't know what else to put in there. I mean, I guess you could put quick use items, like you could put like a passport in there if you wanted to, or keys, stuff like that, but just kind of an awkward pocket to use, and it also shares space with the main compartment. So if you have this bag fully packed, like I had this fully packed to bring to work one day, and I normally put my Bluetooth speaker in there so I can listen to music, and it just wouldn't fit because I had this so fully packed, and it shares space. I can show you once we go inside, and I couldn't get it in there, so I didn't get to bring my speaker that day. But it is nice to have an extra pocket. Maybe you have a use for it, but just me personally, I don't normally have a use for it. So I believe those are all the pockets we have on the exterior. There is another access point, but I'll show you that access point once we get inside. Grab the wrong zipper. So this is the interior of the pack, and let me open this up for you. So we do have this shoe compartment right here, and let me find the zip. Here it is. So this is the access to the shoe compartment here. It's nice that that's built in. You can't take it out, which is, I guess, just depends on your usage. If you're normally traveling with shoes, it's great because like I have a pair of shoes here. They don't take up a ton of room inside the pack, and it zips away nicely. Sometimes you see shoe compartments too that are like that. The entry point is really small, so you really kind of got to jam the shoes in there. This one's nice and wide. It runs all the way across the bottom of the pack here, so you don't really have to sneak them in there by any means. But I don't typically put shoes in a shoe compartment. It's just not really something that I do. So I didn't use it too much. And it's thin fabric, so it doesn't take up a ton of room. And there are these little hook and loop fasteners that you can fold it up like this, so it's even more out of the way. So if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. But as you can see here, this is that pocket I was talking about earlier, the side pocket. You can see that it shares space with the main compartment. So I guess maybe their intention was a water bottle pocket. I'm not sure. I normally have big water bottles, and as you can see, it's not a huge pocket. If you had a skinnier water bottle, it would fit in here. But I like, a 32-ounce Nalgene or something like that. It's probably not going to fit in here, and if it does, it's just taking up room on the inside of the pack, which, I'm not a huge fan of, because this is where, obviously, like clothes and stuff like that are supposed to go, or if you're bringing camera gear, stuff like that. But it does have a pretty good amount of space. So if we move to the other side real quickly, if it's not extended, there's not very much space here. I mean, you've got a couple inches. Give you a better look at how much room you've got. There's not much space in this side, but we'll extend it again. Zipper hunt is on. Okay. All right. Once that's extended, you've got about the same amount of space on this side as you do on this side. But it just depends if you want to extend it. I don't think the pack looks as nice when it's extended. It's a lot bulkier and a little bit more, I don't want to say awkward to carry, just different to carry. A good thing about this pocket is you have, like I praised that mesh earlier for being so dense and thick and having a lot of like give in it. So anything you put in here, that whole back panel has, a lot of give. So if you were traveling with camera equipment or something like that, or you had some more tech, this side's probably a better option because it does have that added protection of the back panel. But it is it's like kind of, it's hard to show, but it like kind of comes out because of the back panel. it's not flat, and I guess you don't normally expect it to be flat, but it's just a little weird. I don't know how to describe it other than that. Bring this zipper back. But on top of this pocket, I guess on top of both of these compartments, you have these mesh toppers. So these are nice to keep what's inside of each side in there and not floating around and intermingling. So you could have one side that's dirty, one side that's clean. You could, the world's your oyster. But on this one here, we have a separate little pocket here. It only goes to this middle point. But this is good if you have some things you really want to keep separate. Like maybe if you had like a tie or socks and underwear could go in here. But nice to have that separation. This material is nice because it's airy, so it's not going to get cooped up inside there, but it doesn't have any stretch. So you're really limited to whatever you can fit in there. Like this isn't going to stretch out, which is probably good anyways because there isn't any room to, like the zipper wouldn't close if this were to stretch out a whole bunch. But overall, I mean, there's a lot of space in here, especially when you extend it to 33 liters. Like you could very, very easily do a weekend trip, and you probably do a week trip too if you're packing light, and even longer than that if you're willing to pack very light and do some laundry while you're on your trip. You really can fit a good amount of stuff in here. But I think a good thing to talk about in reference to that, we didn't go over it a ton when I talked about it, but these shoulder straps aren't the best for like a long journey. They're they're basically just kind of like flat. There's not, there's a little bit of curvature to them, but they're not like an S shape. They're not really bended all that much. So it's not, they're comfortable because of the padding, but depending on your body type, they might not fit you so well. So this is a bag you might want to like put on before you buy it, or buy it from somewhere where you're able to return it if these don't suit you well. They suit me just fine. I probably rode 50 to 60 miles with this on my back with a good amount of stuff in it, which is not the use case for this bag, and it was fine. But depending on your usage, it might not be so comfortable. Something else I forgot to mention as well is we do have these little straps here if you wanted to attach something to the bag, like if you wanted to put a GoPro on there or something, or even just like a little utility pouch, like the Yokota utility pouch, you could add those on there. But last but not least, we're going to talk about the back laptop sleeve. So it opens just like this. And when I think of Incase, I think of laptop sleeves. And they did a good job, I think, with the laptop sleeve in this. So I think that, it's their expertise, so they did a good job. It opens pretty low here, like the zippers come down pretty low. Zipper comes all the way down to here. So this can kind of just fold back like this, and you have really good access here. So this is the actual laptop sleeve. You can fit up to a 16-inch laptop in there. I had my 15-inch and it fit just fine, and not moving around too much or anything like that. And I really didn't feel it while I was riding. I know this is a bigger bag and it's not meant for riding, but a lot of times when you have a backpack and you're riding a bike with it, you can feel your laptop in there. And that was not the case with this pack. It's got some nice, like it's fuzzy. Not sure how well you can see it, but similar to a lot of the interiors of their laptop sleeves and cases. And then there's also another little pocket right here where you can put up to, I believe it is a 12.9-inch iPad or tablet. So it's nice to be able to fit both your 16-inch laptop and a pretty big honking tablet in here too. So if you like to travel with your computer, your tablet, you need them for work, whatever it may be, you can fit both those in there. And then you have all this extra space here. It goes all the way down to put your chargers, whatever else you need to slide in there. You could probably put a laptop here, a tablet here, and another laptop here if you really needed to. That's not optimal because you're kind of sandwiching your devices. But there's a ton of space in this back laptop sleeve. It's like they put a laptop sleeve on the back of this travel case. And I think that's really awesome, especially for people who like to bring a laptop with them when they travel. I like to bring a laptop with me, and sometimes if I'm going with a friend or something like that, being able to both share the same laptop compartment is nice because then only one person has to worry about it. And you can even trade off if you need to. So very happy with this. You get the extra padding from the back panel. Then there is a little bit of padding between that interior there and this laptop compartment. Sorry if you hear any loud noises. They're working on the roof right now to fix our heat. It's very cold in here right now, but if you heard any noises, that's what that is. Zip this back up here. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this pack for what it is. Like when you think Incase, I don't really think travel backpack, but I think it handled its own very well. There are a few things I think are a little quirky and a little bit awkward, like these side sensors here. I know we talked about how well that they work, but they are a little bit awkward like in use. Like if I, were to compress this, it's compressed, but it looks a little weird. And I know you probably wouldn't ever need to compress it that much, but if you're in a tight squeeze and you need to, it looks a little funky. You can do the same on this side. I do like these for when you don't have it fully packed, but as I was saying, these are just a little bit awkward looking. It almost looks like a, I don't know, like a skateboard. I like them because if you don't have a ton of stuff in there, you can kind of cinch it down. But it's a little awkward in practice, and it just looks a little weird. It's nice to have the option, but these paired with the crazy number of zippers that do exist on this pack are a little cumbersome, but overall, I like this pack, and I think it's a good offering from Incase, and I'm excited to continue testing it and also see what they bring us in the future. So there you have it, the Incase A.R.C Travel Pack. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.